You get it down to 15%. All of those things help boost your score. So even though you might have taken a hit for paying off that particular loan, you can also get a boost as well when it comes to your credit score. All right, so that was another tip. So that's another tip of something that you might be able to do to help increase your credit score, even when it might drop, just because you made a good financial decision and you fulfilled your financial obligation and paid off a loan. So those are some of the things that will impact your score. So what's the next thing? What's the very next thing that could possibly hurt your credit and bring your credit score? The very next thing is something that you're familiar with as well because you've been listening to the 800 Credit Score Man show, and that's inquiries. Yes, inquiries. When you have a hard pull, somebody pulls your credit, somebody looks at your credit, and you're attempting to get credit somewhere, that's going to pull your credit score down. Multiple inquiries will definitely pull your credit score down. The credit bureaus think that having 6 inquiries on your credit report is too many to have, and so they govern themselves accordingly. No, these inquiries are supposedly only 10% of your credit score, but if you have a whole bunch of them, it can definitely hurt your credit score. Some say it can knock your credit score down 5 points or 10 points per inquiry. So every time somebody pulls the credit on you, if you started out with a 680 and you had 3 credit pulls, then, next month when they update, your credit score could potentially be 650. That's going to be an issue. That's an issue. That's definitely an issue for you. So try to only apply for credit when you absolutely need it. If you have multiple inquiries on your credit report, lenders look at it as some kind of desperation. They don't know what's going on with your credit. It's not being reflected in what your credit report looks like, but you're desperately trying to get some credit somewhere for some reason. They don't typically give you the benefit of the doubt. What they do is they think the worst case scenario. They think something's going on that's not apparent on your credit report, and they have no idea what it is or what have you. So they're going to go ahead and they're going to think there's something bad happening, and then that's going to absolutely impact your credit score. So if you're just going to get the inquiry and you're going to get knocked 10 points just for this one inquiry, that's a huge issue, and that's a reason your credit score could have dropped. Now, if you haven't applied for credit anywhere and your credit score drops, when you go to your credit report to take a look at it, look at your inquiries. Look at your inquiries because they're going to show up faster than a new account will or anything else. When you look at your inquiries, you're basically looking for anybody that has pulled a credit on you. And if they haven't, you need to make sure that you contact that person, that entity that pulled a credit on you. If you haven't applied there, someone could have stolen your identity, and that's a major issue. So when you see that your credit score drops anytime, you need to get into your credit report and take a look at it. So you got to watch these inquiries. The only time that it won't have an issue with multiple inquiries is when you're buying a home or if you are buying a vehicle. If you're buying a home or you're buying a vehicle, then you can go out and you can have your credit run as many times as you want to. I'm going to advise you to stay within a 14-day window. So if you go out on the first of the month and you start looking at cars and whatnot, and you're not satisfied with whatever's going on, you don't like the car, you don't like the financing, whatever it is, and you go to the next shop and the next shop and the next dealership and the next dealership, if you do that within 14 days, all of those inquiries will only be counted against you as one because they will assume that you're only buying one car. They won't assume that you're buying 14 of them. So then you'll only get dinged once for that. Same thing happens when you apply for a mortgage. You can do the same thing. If you call your mortgage guy on the second of the month, you've got a good 14 days to talk to that guy, talk to your own bank, talk to the bank next door to your bank, and then get on the internet and go to LendingTree or somebody and let all those people pull your credit. You've got 14 days to do it. Now, actually, if they're using the new FICO, the newest version of FICO, FICO 8 or FICO 9, you technically have 30 days. Here's where I say do the 14-day window. It's because you don't know where these people are. You don't know if they're still working off of FICO 4 or FICO 5, or if they're up to date and they're working off of FICO 8 or FICO 9. So to protect yourself, that 14-day window, you can go out and get as many inquiries as you want. They'll all still show up on your credit report. They'll all still show up on there, but you'll only get dinged as if you had done one inquiry in itself. So that's something definitely for you to look out for and it absolutely will drop your score if you have too many hard inquiries on your credit report. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't go to your insurance place or the next insurance place trying to, get a better rate for your car, your home, or what have you, because they do pull credit reports as well, but those are not the hard inquiries. That doesn't mean you don't apply for that job when the job says, hey, we're going to pull a credit report on you. That don't mean don't do that, because that is not a hard pull. That's called a soft pull, and that soft pull does not hurt your credit report and your score at all. Not at all. So make sure you be careful where you apply for credit and how often you do so. Your inquiries stay on your credit report for 2 years. So after 2 years, they're gone. They're totally gone. They just fall off of your credit report. No big deal. It's gone. I get a question all the time. Should I go ahead and dispute these inquiries, thinking you're going to get a serious bump if you do so? I wouldn't dispute inquiries. They're just really not worth the time and the effort, in my opinion. Now, if you have 30 of them, that might be a difference. If you went to a car dealership and you really think that they, did you wrong by having your credit pulled so many times and you didn't authorize that, then you can absolutely go ahead and file a dispute on those things. No big deal. Go online to the credit bureaus and file a dispute. See which one it was on, because credit card car dealerships usually only use 1 or 2 different credit reports. Go ahead and file that dispute if you like to. So there you go with inquiries. That's another reason that your credit score could absolutely drop. You got too much credit. You're using too much credit. You're missing payments. You got don't close your old credit cards. You close the card, it could drop. If you pay off a loan, and then again, now we're at inquiries. You got those things, something can happen with your credit score. So let me throw out a couple of more shout outs right quick, and then we're going to get to the question of the day, because we're well past the time on that. So let's do a couple more. Camille Lee, she celebrated her birthday. So happy birthday to you, Camille Lee. Bernard Whittington is celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday to you, Big B, number 95. And then, not 95, he's not 95 years old. The man played football, professional football, and he was number 95. So happy birthday, Bernard. And then I got to say happy birthday to Stephen Jeffers. He's one of my frat brothers as well. So happy birthday to you. Stephen Jeffers is coming up. So happy birthday, Steve Jeffers. All right. So let's do the question of the day right quick. Let's do that. So question of the day is coming from James. James is out of last week we had somebody from Georgia, and James is from Georgia. So look, we got James, and James wanted to know how do you build credit without using a credit card? So without getting a credit card. So you guys know that I'm a big proponent, if you listen to the show, of using credit cards to build credit, not to increase your debt, but absolutely to help you build credit. So he wants to know, how can he do that without using a credit card? So there are there's really only one other way to do this, or 2 other ways to do it. So the main way to do it is to do it with loans. So if you got a car loan, you got a mortgage, you got student loans, those are ways to do it. You can do a credit builder loan. That's usually at your local credit union. If you don't know about credit unions, they're a wonderful place. Their interest rates are usually a little bit lower than, your typical bank and what have you. So look into a credit union, and you can do a credit builder loan. You can go in there and basically ask for that, and they may call it something else, but they should know exactly what you're talking about. So you can use a credit builder loan. It's usually a short-term loan, and it's a small amount, but it's going to go on your credit report. Make sure it's going to report to all 3 of the credit bureaus, because you want to help build your credit, right? So make sure it reports to all 3 of your credit bureaus, and that's the credit builder loan. It could be low as $500. You pay it back over 6 or 9 months, and then you're all good when it comes to that. You can do a self-lender loan. Basically works the same as the credit builder loan. It's online for the most part. You can do self-lender loan. It works a lot like a secure credit card, if you will. So you can do that to help you boost your credit score. If you don't have a home or a mortgage, then you can use, and you're a renter, you can use your rent to help you build your credit. Yes, you can have your rental payments placed on your credit report as well. There are companies out there that will do so. The majority of the companies, unfortunately, don't report to all three credit bureaus. That's the optimal. That's what you really want, them to report to all three. So you need to find a place that will report to all three credit bureaus. You got to make an agreement or get your landlord to agree to this. It will cost some money. Typically, it's less than $100 a year to get it done. But at the end of the day, it's well worth it. The $100 that you'll spend to get this done and put on your credit report will absolutely help your credit score, and it'll save you money in the end. So the higher your credit score, the lower interest rates you're going to pay, and it's going to put money in your pocket, right? That's what we always say here at the 800 Credit Score Man Show. So you can do those things, and it'll absolutely help boost your credit score without using a credit card. If you're afraid to use credit cards for whatever reason, James and I didn't get into all of that, but if you're afraid to use credit cards, you can always go with the secured card method. Get your secured card. You're going to send whatever company $200 or even more if you want to. You send them $200 and then you use it, like a regular credit card. You make payments. $200 is your limit. Maybe they'll even bump it up for you every now and then. If you make payments, 6 months in a row, you have a good track record, they might bump it up and say, okay, we'll give you a $300 limit or what have you. But that's going to be your limit. It's not a whole lot. So it can get you in a whole bunch of trouble. But those are ways that you can, go ahead and boost your credit without using credit cards. So James from Georgia, thank you so very much for contacting me. He sent me an email. So you can email me at 800@creditscoreman.com. Email me there. That's 800@creditscoreman.com. You can email me there and I will answer your question directly to you. And then I might use it on the show as well. Just your first name. And then please tell me what state you're contacting me from as well. So James, thank you so very much. You are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. All right, so let's jump back into the last thing I want to tell you about why your credit score could potentially drop. Negative items on your credit report. So if you got a late payment, if you got a new collection, then your credit score is absolutely going to drop. As soon as it shows up on your credit report, then that score is going to drop. So make sure, like I mentioned earlier, do not make late payments. And then if you're going to get a collection, you need to stop things from going to collection, people. You know it's coming. They've sent you 100 letters. They've interrupted dinner by calling you. They've called you at work. They got your cell phone number now. They're bugging you to death. You know it's going to collections. So you need to stop it from going to collections. You need to make some kind of agreement with them. Even if it's something, oftentimes these are things that are not even on your credit report. So I'm not saying you're getting the 30 days late from, a credit card or a particular loan or whatever. I'm talking this is your cable bill. This is your cell phone bill or whatever. And they're going to collections or even medical. They're going to collections. You need to make some kind of deal with them. And even if they won't agree to the $5 a month that you want to give them, then you need to send them $5 a month. You need to send them $20 a month. That could potentially stop it from going to collections. So this the last thing you want to do is to have it show up on your credit report as a collection. Can you get it off? Absolutely, you can get it off. Go back and listen to some of the shows where I talked about collections and how to handle them and all of those things. But the best thing is to go ahead and prevent it from happening in the first place. That's really what you want to do when it comes down to your collections. All right. So look, that's the last thing I want to tell you about that particular thing. So since I was talking about that, told you guys I would tell you, this kind of brings me to the news of the week. News of the week, what's going on? Why was your credit scores in the news this week? Why was it online? And why was it on, your local news station? Well, here's the deal. If you listen to the 800 Credit Score Man Show, like a lot of you do, and you have for a long time, if you listen to it last year I told you about this information when it came out that they were making some kind of deal. So I told you about it last year. It came to fruition partly last year, and they're still rolling some of these things out. But here's the skinny, if you will. So the bureaus got together and they decided that some of the negative items that are on your credit report shouldn't be there. It's not because you're not a good steward or responsible credit worthy, but they're on your credit report. So some things such as tax liens, boom, they say we'll take